Alright, hello everyone, this is Vicky Verley, the Rock and Roll Prophetess, and we're coming at you today to take a look at the new moon chart for December, which is occurring on December 2nd, 2013 at 7:22 Eastern Time. So you can vary it from there. You know, I always record these a couple weeks ahead of time, and I post them. I'm recording it on Thursday the 14th of November, and I'm going to be posting it tomorrow morning probably on the 15th. And I know a lot of you that watch the astrology charts don't really watch some of the other videos, but last night there was this magical thing, and the moon is almost full. It's going to be full. When I'm recording this, I'm recording it just prior to the full moon of the 17th. Went to bed last night, and I saw a giant orb by the moon. I thought it was another planet or something at first. And then I wasn't going to try to photograph it because it's pitch black outside. I know the camera doesn't do well in that. But if anybody else saw that orb on the moon, I'm going to have to try to look around or post it somewhere. But it was pretty magical. But I know that most of you that tune into this are just looking for an astrology report. So on we go to the astrology. So the new moon on December 2nd is at 10 degrees of Sagittarius. So that's just like the crown of that 10-degree thing that we've been in for a while on these last few new and full moons. There's this 10-degree point. Everything was kind of hovering. And that is the point of roughly the Uranus-Pluto square. Right now, at that date of December 2nd, Uranus is retrograding to 8, but it's still very much, in orb. So this is triggering that. It's trining the Uranus, which is squaring the Pluto. It's also squaring the Chiron. That's the thing that actually the thing that gets me is not even the new moon point. The first thing I note is these aspects again, and this grand trine on Earth. But I want to address this point of this 10 degrees first. So it's squaring Chiron, so there's healing, there's definitely some healing. And I found Chiron to be, not an easy healing. I've discussed it in other videos, but I want to, it's been a while, so we'll talk about it again. Chiron, when I've experienced Chiron transits to my natal chart, it's not been pretty. It's not, it's not been healing at all. It's been painful. And somebody told me something about Chiron that finally made it kind of click in and make sense. They said that Chiron is where you keep wounding yourself over and over again. And I think that is really the key to Chiron. And it's going to require tremendous change. Pluto, and Uranus. We're going to have tremendous change to make a big difference in this, to view it differently. Let's talk a little about this grand trine on Earth, because it is, again, in this South Node. And the South Node has been very prevalent in a lot of these new and full moon charts for a while as well, this South Node in Taurus. So the South Node is the way that you've always done things. And especially in Taurus, very fixed. Tauruses don't really like a lot of change. They like things pretty much on an even keel, and, they're fixed. They like things to stay the same. They don't like upsets and change. They like things to just go along as they always have. So that's really the key to all this healing stuff, I think. It's like, we've got to make changes of our way of thinking, so we don't continue to keep wounding ourselves over and over again. And you can, and it's the third part of the trine is this Pallas Athena asteroid in Virgo. Now, Pallas is kind of like Mercurial, would that be that? I don't know, like Mercury, put it that way. It sort of has like a Mercury thing, or a Uranus vibration too. It's very much like in the mind and enlightenment, enlightened mind. So that's going to be part of it. And Pluto, we're going to have to make drastic changes. So it's not the old way. Capricorn is old school, Taurus is that way. The earth signs in general are pretty, grounded in earth. They're not about forging new ground or they're about foundations and the earth. This is where we lay our foundation. So these are, in the past, and stoning these traditions, a lot of them aren't good. And you name it. Whether it's, stoning women, or whether it's, brushing things under the rug and keeping them quiet, or whether it's abuse, or or whatever kind of things. But here's what I want to say is, it's things that are handed down through tradition, through the family, I feel very strongly it's the family. I know Jupiter's in Cancer, and it may not really relate, but this is my vibe. It's like the family. It's like these old traditional things. It's some of these fanatical religious things. I'm not putting down religion per se, but I'm saying, there's extremists, these religious extremists, and these, oh no, and it's fury, and it's all this, this fury, and getting so far off the original teachings of the spirit masters, whoever you may follow, whoever it may be, whether it's Buddha or Muhammad or Jesus, all these extremists, I think, are getting very far removed from the core teachings of these spiritual masters, who are all kind of, there's a lot of similarities if you were really to strip away all the dogma. Peace and love is the, caring for one another. That's the core message of most, of the spiritual masters that our current day religions follow. So that's part of it. And family traditions, there's a lot of family traditions that are just really dysfunctional, and and everybody's family. I would, most people come from some kind of dysfunction, So it's about having enlightenment about that. Chiron, quit wounding yourself about it. It's about quit perpetuating it. You don't have to, keep doing these same things in your current life or with your current children. You can make changes, and that's the way to break the karma, South Node. That's the way to end the suffering with Chiron, and through enlightenment, through Uranus and Pallas, have enlightenment, and Pluto, deep, deep change. So, this Sag too. Sages are of the higher mind. Sag and Jupiter. That's the ninth house. That is spiritual beliefs. That's why this does definitely come into play here. It's spiritual beliefs. It's higher learning, and when you have higher learning, often you release some of the negative. That's where the enlightenment will come from, and it doesn't have to be higher learning as far as schools and universities. It's people are educating themselves more and more, and things on the internet you can watch, and all sorts of things like that. So it's not always, school, universities. It's higher learning. And Sagittarius is definitely not, it does rule over religions, but not, I think a lot of our religious people have become extremists, as I was saying. There's a lot of good things in religion, Not that I practice any specific religion anymore, but I was raised Catholic, and during the holiday season, midnight mass, there's something so magical about that. There's a lot of magic and beauty in religions, but there's also a lot of really radical extremists that's again so far removed from the original message. Neptune is direct now. We're going to get back to the real. The highest thing of Neptune is being spiritual. That's your spirituality of Neptune, regardless of your religion. So now that Neptune is direct over here, I'm going to move up and meet Chiron again. Maybe not, because Neptune's so slow moving. But they're both in Pisces, so it's like there's definitely a connection here. And I should have checked ahead of time, Chiron could go retrograde. They may meet up again, but they're both in Pisces. It's kind of moving towards the Chiron energy, moving towards the deep, deep healing of multi-lifetimes, multi-generations. This is going way, way back here. So, that's definitely the main thing here. Because it's Sag, the new moon is in Sag, we have to look at the ruler. That's another thing. If some of you are not, beginning on astrology, whenever there's something going on, you always look at the ruler. Well, the ruler of Sag is Jupiter. So what's Jupiter doing? Well, Jupiter's over here right in with that Lilith here. So there again is that the women, and I'm just really over this putting a stamp on things. I feel like astrology and spirituality and everything should keep developing and keep moving forward. I'm against everyone. Okay, Lilith, bam, the ruthless woman or whatever, the angry woman, stamp. Okay, here's your label. And after this summer, this transit, I really do have some new enlightenment about Lilith. And I do really feel strongly that it is justice for all and equality, because that is the key of the Lilith story. All she wanted was equality. And I feel like this is equality for all. And since this time with the Jupiter, you know, and Jupiter also does rule over the courts and law and legal. And there has been lots of things happening, you know, gay marriage, different kinds of things happening, trying to get this health care for all passed and everything. So, you know, Jupiter, I mean, Lilith isn't just, we can't just label her, okay, that's it. And it's just like, also, we can't just label religion good or bad, or we can't just label anybody one particular thing, because people are multifaceted, and we live in our multifaceted world. And we've got to, you know, be a little more open-minded. This is what this Uranus and Pallas kind of thing is saying. Be a little more open-minded, and Sagittarius are definitely open-minded. Sagittarius are not and for the most part, really judgmental or anything. They're pretty lighthearted, easygoing. That's my take on Sagittarians. But anyway, so over here to Jupiter. Jupiter's still conjunct Lilith, so these things are still going to be coming up. Jupiter retrograding. So we're going to backtrack. We're going to backtrack over some of these old things that we may have made some progress in, but maybe are not completely resolved. And with Lilith, I think it is still women, but it's all the underdogs, anybody who's being mistreated, you know. And with Cancer, it's about nurturing, not hurting, or even like the bullying, you know, that could fall under this category too, you know, being kind to others. Oppose Venus at Capricorn. There's an opposition to Venus over here at 22 Capricorn. You know, in my chart, this is really nice. This is making some really nice aspects. But for everybody, you know, Venus and Capricorn, maybe not so much, you know, because Capricorn has can be sort of a cold thing. It's not really, Venus is not in the realm of Capricorn. That's not really, its best placement. I don't know if that's officially at its detriment or what, because there's more to astrology than that, and I don't know all that off the top of my head, but things are at their detriment or at their not glorified, but they're exalted, you know, in different signs. So, but I can just say that Venus in Capricorn is kind of not you know, the best placement, or what you would really think of as Venus being happy in Capricorn. But what we can say is Capricorn is old school. It's the male-run patriarchal society that we've been in for however many thousands of years here. So when trying to, because it's in a direct aspect to this Jupiter Lilith, when trying to break through, Venus could soften Capricorn up a little bit, you know, make the Capricorn energy not so stern, not so you know, not so harsh and not so stubborn, or, you know, I'm frowning. These this Capricorn symbol looks like frowning eyebrows to me right now. So that's what they're telling me. Like, and Venus is round and beautiful. In addition to that, we've got the, you know, Mercury's in there at 26 degrees. So that's an orb. So Mercury, you know, is going to allow for talks. And, you know, Mercury in Scorpio, that, just to be really blunt, it's like it'll cut through the bullshit, you know, because a lot of this stuff, this stuff that people talk, it's just complete, you know, what's the guy on TV? Bill Maher always refers to it. People are in the bubble, you know. It's just completely flat out lies, or trying to pull the wool over people's eyes, or really trying to scare them fearful. And Mercury in Scorpio, it's like, let's just talk facts here. Let's just, you know, be true. Cuts through all the crap from anybody. And I'm not just talking about I'm not trying to point a finger. I'm just saying Mercury in Scorpio is going to get through the truth of the matter. And Saturn. Saturn's in there too. Saturn 19 and 17 degrees, that is a trine. This Jupiter Chiron is Saturn. But again, it related back to Capricorn, old school, you know, Saturn. That's the old time people, the old establishment. What's always worked. See, what's always worked isn't worked for everybody. It's worked for some people. And you know, Saturn is definitely, it's a male-dominated thing. And, you know, if you go on a higher level with the South Node and Saturn, we've all been male and female. We've all been every race and every religion in other lifetimes. So, to hate somebody based on these things is to hate yourself, because we really all are one. And, that is back to this Neptune and the Chiron, that is the message of all the major spiritual teachers throughout the ages, throughout our recorded history, is that we all are one, and to love one another. These other things that have come in, oops, excuse me, I hit the tripod. These other things that have come in through this Saturn, and it's just like this, these are meant to dominate and control, and this was about power struggles. Anything that has to do with like power struggles, I would say, is not on the path of any of the spiritual teachers. And that's why a lot of people really like that new Pope. And he's come into, he's come into office, or I don't know what you would call it, reign, under these aspects. And he, a lot of people that, like I said earlier, I was raised Catholic, and a lot of people that were kind of turned away, from the church because it was just too strict and rigid. Saturn. And now that this new Pope has come in, a lot of people are really saying, wow, I think, he's really good, and they really like him. And, they're really thinking, well, maybe there is a place for religion. And I'm not saying there's not, that's totally an individual choice. Uranus and Aries, that's the individual. That's up for the individual to choose. I'm just saying that this radical and control and power-hungry stuff is just not going to fly anymore with these aspects. And these aren't just, the personal planets, which I've said before, the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Jupiter to some extent, I think, might be considered a personal planet. This rules everyday things that happen every day. This is who you talk to on the phone. This is your everyday routine. They move quickly. They change quickly. It's akin to the minor arcana in the tarot. These are the outer planets. These are the planets that are making big moves. These are the major arcana in the tarot. So these things are making big impacts, and they're slow moving, so they're slow happening. It's not, Uranus can be like change on a dime. Yes, definitely. But, and I think that's how enlightenment comes, all of a sudden. And I'm not trying to get into any argument with anybody, and I feel like that is not the way to win hearts and influence people. That has not worked. People who are fighting for whatever, just like they had the war on drugs. Well, whatever you're fighting for, that wells up all this intense energy, kind of Mars energy, and war energy, Pluto, Mars and Pluto, it's not conducive to finding solutions. Uranus, we're going to have it through enlightenment. And I love that quote, I think it's Einstein, who says you cannot solve the problem from the same mindset that created the problem. And I think that is so, so true. And that's something that I've been there. I totally have been there. And getting angry and upset, and how come they couldn't see this, or how could you be so blind, and on a crusade for whatever. And several years back I just kind of changed my tune and allow flow, allow Neptune, try to bring in peace, try to bring in peace and love. And I talk about that in that Using Light video, a few things that you can do that way too. But I think that's what the message here is with this Chiron, the new moon square in Chiron, new moon in Sagittarius, and that is definitely an enlightened sign. So this is a lot of enlightenment kind of energy here, and it's still about change. And one last thought about the Grand Trine on Earth here. Because it is a Grand Trine on Earth, we can have there could establish new foundations for sure. And also with this Saturn, that's about new foundations, and Capricorn. So all these things tie into these upheavals are going to make new foundations that are going to be healing. We're going to break free from the past. We have to. And I talked about that in our my time travel video too. And it's like, we're so looking forward. What's the next app? Everybody's looking forward to the future now. Instead of these time-honored traditions. We can't wait to see. We got to have the new phone, the new app, the new this, the new that. Point whatever, point 2.0, point. We're always wanting the next new thing. Well, as we're doing this, we are accelerating ourselves forward into the future, and breaking free of the past, and forging a new earth. It really, really is. So this was kind of a little deep, I guess, today. But I don't. It's a beautiful energy. It's a beautiful thing. I don't feel like the square is like. I don't feel like all this trepidation or fear about this. I feel it's harmonious, and this grand trine and this beautiful trine energy is cooperation. Trine is cooperation, compromise, and that's what it's intolerance. That's what it's going to take, to make things happen. Tolerance. And stop trying to scare people, stop trying to scare people. And if you're feeling fear, you need to re-examine that. Don't make your decisions based on fear. Because really, if you're doing that, what it really ends up being is you're being bullied, if you think about it. I know you think that people think, and I was there, and I have been there, and I'm not saying I'm completely enlightened, and I'm still a human here on this earth myself, But the thing that I've found is, if you're stop and think, are you making this decision out of fear and anger? Anger is part of fear, or are you making it from a place of calm and centered? And that's the best place to be. Okay. All right, everyone. This is Vicki Verley, the Rock and Roll Prophetess. Thank you for watching, and thank you for donating and sharing and liking my videos. Please visit my shops, the Orgon Energy, and if you want to check out the Tapestry of Life mandalas, on the order page you can see the various services that I offer. I do run charts. There are some varying degrees of, I do the soul readings and the mandalas, but I also do private phone readings, and I have some cool charts that you can order on there that are very reasonably priced. And I hope that you have a great holiday season, and I'll talk to you soon. What is Orgonite? Originally discovered in the 1930s by Wilhelm Reich, orgon energy, or etheric energy, is present in living things, including the human body. Reich proposed that illness occurs when our etheric body is out of balance, and that positive orgon energy could realign the etheric field, thus facilitating healing and balance of one's life force, chi or prana. It has since been scientifically proven that energy called piezoelectricity, meaning electricity resulting from pressure, is created by the compression of certain materials such as quartz crystals, wood, salt, sugar, ceramics, and bones. As the resin cures in an orgonite piece, it shrinks and compresses the organic matter contained within. The energy emitted creates a positive energy generator. You really can feel the energy coming forth from these pieces. Orgonite clears the air and neutralizes negative emotions as well as electronic clutter from our high-tech devices. Each orgonite piece is lovingly hand-created using intuitive pairing of materials to enhance and raise vibration and aid in ascension and a spiritual awakening. I use materials from nature, including the bark from a sacred willow for grounding, and gold flakes to emulate the golden light basking down from the higher dimensions. Visit my Etsy shop for a wide selection of handmade orgon pieces, especially designed for spiritual growth, including heart opening, chakra alignment and activation, and more. Visit www.orgonenergyflow.etsy.com to see more beautiful orgon pieces. And remember, you are love and beauty incarnate.